recording so that I would be able to share this with other people a little bit later. So the online teaching standards are a different set of standards than if you've currently viewed the online course design standards. We've had a lot of people submit a self-evaluation for the online course design standards. That's not this document, that's a different document. And we haven't yet come up with a strategy for implementing this particular set of standards, but we'll be working on it with the educational innovation team about what's the best way to implement these standards, which are related to the teaching of online classes. So they do relate to the design standards. There's a little bit of overlap, and we are aware of that. It's just, I guess, the nature of standards. So at some point, we anticipate faculty being able to do a self-evaluation for these, which will be done like after a course is complete. And how often faculty do this, I don't know yet. I can't imagine that it will be like incredibly often that somebody's going to have to do this type of evaluation. I'll ask the educational innovation team about that and have them help come up with the strategy and how often and that type of thing. And then we'll probably take that back to the colleges to see if there's any faculty input. So before I get started, I'll mute myself, and I want to know if anybody has pressing questions or anything they would like me to focus on as I'm doing this virtual workshop. Don't forget you have to unmute.
Oh, right. I do not have any pressing questions. I thought this was going to be related to the design. I do have to say that, but I'm looking forward to this information here.
Okay. Anybody else in the room? All right. Anybody else who's here, if you could put your microphone on mute, that would be great so we don't get an echo. I know there are more people here because I see Diane. I'm not sure. Oh, okay. I know who CCL is. Okay, so let me just get started. I'll do like an overview of this, and please stop me if you have any questions as we go along. Diane, I will do the virtual version of the online design standards again because I didn't have anybody show up the last time. And you're right, I totally forgot. I think that Kathy even wanted to be in the design standards one too. So would you guys prefer that I do that? Do you want me to go over that one instead? Because I'm good with that.
I'm definitely for that. I can't speak for anybody else.
This is Kathy. Diane, are you and I the only ones on, or are there more people on?
I don't know, Kathy, if there are more people on or not. It says 5, so I guess there are.
Yeah, so there are Jen Chingley is here and Joanne Miller's here. So Joanne and Chen, if you want to let me know, if you want to focus on the design standards versus teaching, can you let me know?
This is Kathy again. I would actually be interested in both, so maybe you can stick with this and then we could do the design standards another day.
Okay, let's just do that. That way we can just get started. So these teaching standards were based upon national standards for online teaching. And the committee had a long time working on this. So we think that if classes and teachers meet these standards, that they are pretty darn good online teachers. In the first section, we have responsiveness, and that includes having a virtual office or Q&A forum in Blackboard right at the top, so that students' questions get answered publicly and answered within the time frame stated in the syllabus. If you don't have one of those, we suggest having one, and as a faculty member, subscribing to it. And so what that means is you will get an email when students post a question in that forum. Unfortunately, with Blackboard, I do not believe you are able to just reply to that email and then have that reply will actually answer the question in the forum. That's too bad, because you actually have to go back into Blackboard, go into the forum, answer the question, which is kind of a pain. But that's an excellent practice. What you do is if students have something personal that they want to ask you about, that should be saved for email. So like in your syllabus, you would tell students, hey, if you have a non-personal question related to the class or the material, please post it in the virtual office or Q&A forum. And stop me anytime you have a question about things. Even though it will echo a little bit, I'll mute myself as quickly as possible. And it looks like somebody has a question. No, you can stop me anytime to ask me questions. Or
Okay,
if you want to, you
I
can.
do have a question now.
Okay.
Okay, when you said subscribe to the forum, that means that you would be getting a email every time someone asks a question, correct?
Right.
Okay, and so when you have like 94 students or 100 students, that would be a little hard, like in the online health assessment class. I really wouldn't want to be getting all those emails for the questions that students ask.
Okay.
So I just go back in and I answer the question, but that would not be good.
So in that particular case, I probably wouldn't recommend it. But for a smaller class, yes.
Gotcha.
Okay, so the second part of that is being open to feedback about your class. So what this means is providing the students an opportunity to kind of give you some feedback during the course. This is not related to the end of course evaluation. This is something else. It's basically like a formative evaluation for yourself. And you can use Blackboard to do that. You can create a Blackboard survey. I think that like week 5 and 6 is a really good time because the class has had a month or so. The students are kind of getting a feel for the class, feel for the content, feel for you as a teacher, and it would give you an opportunity to get some anonymous feedback about the class, the content, that type of thing. This doesn't mean you have to do that. It just means it's just a suggestion that you might want to do that to get that kind of feedback before the end of the course. So under interaction, the instructor posts announcements and reminders to the students. That's a fairly simple standard. There are some courses that instructors don't post any type of announcements or reminders. I'm one of the people that I don't believe that students need constant reminding that something needs to be done or do because they're all adults. But not, I usually use at least once a week an announcement to say, hey, welcome to week 2. This is what we're going to do. Don't forget your project is due week 6. Don't procrastinate, that kind of thing. Number 4 is extremely important, that you promote the community of learning through interactions with the students and with yourself. And this is a significant part of federal financial aid. So all of our online courses need to have regular and substantive interaction. And for example, if any course can be audited by the Higher Learning Commission, when they come to visit us next spring, the group will probably ask for a login to Blackboard, and they'll just choose random courses, online courses, to just go visit. And if they find that there is little to no interaction between the students and with the students and the instructor, that will be a really major red flag for us. So it's important that when you're designing your online class and teaching your online class, you're encouraging regular interaction between the students, and you're part of that interaction, which is number 5. That you have an instructor presence throughout the course, and that is more than grading and giving feedback. So if somebody were to come in, they would actually see your voice and your part of the teaching throughout the course. Do I have any questions about that part of this standard? Because that tends to, if faculty have never been like taught this by anybody else, it tends to be a bit of a culture shock and kind of a means of freaking people out a little bit. You can type in the chat if you want. If not, I'll keep going. I'll pay attention to the chat. I've left it up so that I can see it. Number 6, the instructor is respectful to the students with their tone. I think that sometimes faculty members don't realize how they might sound to students when they type things, especially if you get upset or frustrated. So it may seem like something silly to say as a standard, but you would be surprised at what you would read in some online classes. The faculty members don't try to be like condescending, for example, but when somebody else reads it, you're like, oh gosh, that's harsh, you know. So if you are prone to being condescending or short or anything like that, you may want to pay attention to your tone when you're writing. Number 7, you, if appropriate, you include group activities in the class. I don't think that this is a complete, like 100% you have to use group activities. You may be able to have students work on discussions together. So you group, especially Diane, in your class with so many students in one class, that's crazy. So you would probably put them in groups to have them discuss things or work on things, because a whole class discussion like that would quickly turn to chaos. So that would meet the standard if you are putting students in groups to have discussions. Number 8, it's really important in your syllabus to have clear expectations for interaction. An example is that you could tell the students you're going to have regular discussions in the class and they are part of your grade. And that's all you say. That's not enough. So you'll have to tell the students, well, what do you want? Or what are you expecting from the students in terms of participation? Like, you will have to tell them how often you expect them to be contributing in the class. The way that I've taught faculty in the past is that you'll want to make sure that the students are an active part of the class at least as much as they would be if they were attending face-to-face. So the activities that you have them do in the course, this is not including homework, should be probably about 3 hours a week for a 3-credit-hour class. Okay? So whatever you have them doing in the class, that's a good indicator, I think, of having enough to do. But you need to be very specific about how much is discussion worth, how often do you want them participating, when are things due, and you can even go one step further with giving them examples of a really good performance in discussion or other types of interaction that you have them do. Number 9, I'm not sure how often you've had students of different cultures in your class. I've seen students at Rush. I think it's probably highly likely that you have. And in my personal experience, it's it's a challenge sometimes because people from different cultures have different expectations about communicating and about expectations. And for example, in my own experience, I've taught many, many, many students from China, and they are not forthright in asking questions, asking for clarification and that type of thing. So sometimes I have to do a little bit more poking and prodding with that student versus a student who perhaps is used to being straightforward. Number 10, this is an overlap with the design standards. So the instructor actually develops some learning materials. It's really important that you as a faculty member design some of your learning materials so that it's not just read the chapter, discuss this, take this test, or take this quiz, that you provide them some of your own knowledge, kind of like what the students get in your face-to-face class. They get to see you, they get to hear you, they get your stories, your experiences. Online students should be able to get that too. So it could be text-based, it could be audio-based, it could be video-based. So there are a lot of ways to do that. If you happen to take the online course design and teaching class, and you'll learn some of those methods. And if you don't know some of those methods, you're welcome to reach out to any of us on my staff, and we'll be able to show you some ways to do that. Number 11 also overlaps a little bit. So does 12. So this whole section overlaps a bit with the online design standards, excuse me, that you have a little bit of variation to the way that learning materials are presented. So for example, you don't always, every single week, all you have them do is read a chapter in a book. Okay, that may be what you do now, but you might want to think about adding a little bit of variation. So you might add some videos to your class once in a while. You might do an instructor video to, like, okay, you have them read this chapter because they need to read the chapter, but then you pop in with a little bit of an instructor video where you're talking about specific examples that you've experienced in your field from that particular chapter. And if you're really super tech savvy, you can create some interactive components, some like interactive videos and quizzes that are not worth anything, but just to check for understanding. Number 12 is you incorporate a variety of teaching strategies and activities. It's, again, just like I said above, is that if you have, let's say you have a PowerPoint every single week, maybe have some variety and just start changing some of those to a video you create, or perhaps a video that you find elsewhere. Or if you're really not very tech savvy, maybe you do a voiceover with your PowerPoint and slowly start modifying your content so that you give it to students in different ways. Number 13, you are professional and you communicate with students in a timely manner. So what this means is that you don't leave questions unanswered for 4 straight days, right? And you don't attack the students verbally because you're sick of their questions and everybody's asking you the same question. I think that this is not anything that you don't already know, but we have to put it in the standards anyway because it's important. Under grading and feedback, in this section, that the students not only need grades, but they also need some feedback. This is especially important when you're talking about grading discussions. So I think grading discussions can be a pain. I couldn't imagine grading discussions with 90 students. I sure hope you have a teaching assistant, at least one of them, because that would just get extremely overwhelming for a faculty member. So for a regular size course, grading discussions, you should give the students feedback in a timely manner so they can be able to adjust what they're doing for the next week to be able to get a better grade if they're not meeting your expectations. Using a rubric is a quick way of giving students feedback that you don't have to type. If you don't know how to use a grading rubric in Blackboard, you can reach out to us and we'll be able to help you do that. In your syllabus, you should have you should have information about when students can expect grades on assignments or activities. And so this standard is basically that you're going to post grades how you say you're going to post grades in the syllabus. I usually give myself a full week just because things just happen. And I prefer grading on the weekends. So it's usually a week after the assignment is due, is I'll tell students, yeah, you'll expect a grade within that time. So under the technology section, this is the final section. So there are only 18 standards in this with the online teaching, that you release your course content to the students at appropriate times, which means if it's Wednesday and the week started Monday and you still haven't opened assignments or opened the content, that's a problem. So you want to make sure that you release this content to students. I usually do it on Sunday. So let's say we're in week 2 and it's Sunday of week 2, I'll usually go in and open week 3 on Sunday so that students who want to be able to check, quickly, early, okay, what do I have coming up this week? Let me plan. I'll usually open it then. If I remember, I'll even try to open it on Saturday, but sometimes I don't remember that. Number 17 is the instructor uses the relevant learning management system tools. Some people know a lot about Blackboard and some people don't. There are a lot of tools in Blackboard that you can use. For example, the assignments tool, you shouldn't have students emailing you anything related to your course. It's not trackable. It's not traceable. It's a pain to grade things through email. The grade book, the assignments tool, isn't spectacular in Blackboard, but it's easier than getting students to give you assignments through email. So for example, you don't have students emailing you assignments. You're using the learning management assignment tool. They're using the discussion tool. If you put students in groups, you're using the groups tool, that type of thing. And number 18, the learning management system tools are used to effectively communicate with students. What this means is if you have announcements, you use the announcements tool and send announcements to the students. That's basically what it means, that you don't rely on tools outside the learning management system like email. You definitely want to avoid that when you're teaching online. So I got through that rather quickly, which is fine, which is, I don't have to keep you too long. I'm going to mute myself and see if you have any pressing questions or any concerns. Let me know. I'm interested in hearing what you have to say.
Hi, this is Kathy. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. This is a little bit off. For the tools that we have for giving feedback in Blackboard, I understand that there is a way that you can give audio feedback and post that. Like if somebody's written a paper and you want to give audio recorded feedback, I'm told there's a way to do that, but I don't know how. Is that something that you could show us sometime?
In Blackboard?
In Blackboard, or is there no way to give audio feedback in Blackboard?
This is news to me. Anybody else in the room know anything about that?
Kathy, there was the program that the psych instructors are using, the one that we were going to be looking into. I cannot think of the name of it right now, where they did videos and you could give audio feedback to them. Is that what you're talking about?
No, somebody told me that there was a way that you could record audio feedback and then post it. But I'm not sure. So I'll snoop around a little bit more and see if I can find out how you do it, or if you even can.
Yeah, so the only way I would know in Blackboard to do it is if you recorded your voice through a different tool and posted it. I don't think that they have that technology in the gradebook off the top of my head. Let me see. I'm going to open Are You Learning? I mean, the Canvas learning management system does that. It's really easy to do it in Canvas, but I don't think I have an assignment in here. Let me go in this because I know that there are some assignments in here. Okay, let's go down here. Grade Center, Grade Center. So this is just a class that people have practiced in. Oh, there aren't any assignments. Darn. Let's see. So here is a way to attach a file. Yeah, not that I know of in Blackboard. I would be interested. Oh, so Joanne, is this Joanne Miller? I don't even know if that's your name. I forget what your first name is. Yeah. See, like in the Canvas learning management system on their speed grader, they have a little box and you can click it and it allows you to either record video or audio and then it throws it in here for the students. So yeah, you'd probably have to make a recording in Panopto and put it in here, but that's kind of a pain. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it would really speed things up if we had that, but I guess, yeah, I think you're right. It doesn't look like it's there, so.
All right, any other comments or questions about this? Oh, good. I'm glad I didn't embarrass myself by calling you somebody else, Joanne.
This was good, Angela. Some of the things I remember from the class, some of the themes came through that we discussed in the class that you gave.
So this is nothing new to you because we do kind of make sure that we cover all of these things.
Right. It really brought back some memories from the class.
Awesome. So Joanne adds here in the chat that when you have a student do a Panopto recording, you can do a verbal comment on the recording. Okay. Maybe that's what you're thinking of, Kathy?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll ask around because a couple other people have been talking about it, so I'll see if I can get more info. And my guess is that it's recording it on some other system and then uploading it, like attaching it as a file.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, if you ever have follow-up questions about these teaching standards, feel free to reach out to me or anybody on my staff. We can help you. We were all part of developing these, so we're all very familiar with it, except Branka. She's new, but she knows about online teaching, so I think that she'll be good at answering your questions. And I will get another virtual session scheduled to talk about the design standards. And then these recordings will actually be available in the near future when I remember how to work with the portal. I can't remember off the top of my head. I was trained, but it's been a little while. So I'll put these recordings on the portal and then provide links to that on our website. Sure. I can send you the updated versions here, but here's what I want to also show you. If you have not visited our website anytime recently, I add things to this as much as I can. If you go down here, under quick links, so this is brand new. I just added this late last week. You can find the syllabus template here. You can find the tip sheet. You can find the course codes. If you haven't heard about the course codes yet, this is something new. And then here's a link to some helpful videos about the syllabus and about course codes. But on the right, here are quick links to the standards for online course design and the standards for online teaching. There's also 2 links for the self-evaluations. Okay, so that'll be on our website all the time.
Hey, Angela, is this the most updated template for the syllabus? Because there was something about another update coming out on the 18th, and I have not seen that yet. So this is it.
This is it, and we are actually going to create the announcement for the University Curriculum Committee to be able to send this out to all the faculty. So you are privileged people, because you are getting to know about it first, that you can find the template here. Now, what has changed on the template is the course codes have been added, and it's right here. And that the videos will tell you all about what these course codes are. It's not going to open here. I have to download it first, but there's a drop-down menu right here that will ask you what is your course coded. Okay, so there's 3 different codes for online, 3 different codes for blended, 1 code for face-to-face. Well, actually 2. So there's one that's a face-to-face that doesn't use any sort of learning management system, and 1 face-to-face that does. So all those explanations are over here.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, thank you all for attending this session. I really appreciate it. And again, if you have any questions, reach out to me.
Thank you. This is great.
You're welcome.